Should I sell my home in 2021? Look, we all know that this housing market has been on fire. It's been the highest and craziest that it's been in over a decade, and many of those old timers, people that have been in the business selling real estate for 40 years or more, have never seen it this buoyant, this hot, and this crazy. But how long can the prices keep going up? Should you wait to 2022? Or should you consider selling now? Now is definitely the time to sell your home because look, things can change very, very quickly. And 2022 may not be as white hot a market as we're currently still seeing in 2021. Here's what you need to know. Hi, I'm Kiwi the Coast, your luxury real estate specialist, helping you sell and maximize the value of your coastal home. So let's dive in. First point to consider, interest rates. Despite the uncertainty of the pandemic, one of the reasons that we saw buyers flood the market was those historically low interest rates. Low mortgage rates and payments meant that borrowers could have historically low payments essentially for the rest of their home buying and owning lives. Low mortgage rates meant that borrowers could have the lowest payments over the lifetime of their loans, so that buyers that were sitting on the sidelines in 2018, 2019 jumped into the market hard to the latter part of 2020 and are doing so still today at 2021. And of course, remember that rule of thumb too. For every drop of 1% interest rate, the borrower's buying power essentially increased by 10%. Thus, the pressure on prices upwards. Also, these low interest rates meant that current homeowners could upgrade their home, buy something bigger, and essentially have the same housing costs as before. But remember, all pendulums swing the other way, and we've slowly been seeing pressure on interest rates start to rise. And word from the Fed, potentially, that they'll rise more in 2023. And why is this? Well, we're starting to see tremendous economic recovery after the pandemic, which is causing some inflation, causing those interest rates to rise a bit, but also making it vital that you jump in and buy that home, because guess what's a hedge against inflation? Real estate. Second point to consider is the supply. We have not seen the supply increase in our marketplace, and in fact, all over the US, supply remains at a historic low. With fewer homes on the market, pressure because of supply being low has put pressure on prices upwards, and in many cases we've seen increases over 30% in many of the marketplaces across the US. And of course, low inventory and high buyer demand means that you're going to continue to see multiple offers, over asking, in many cases all cash, on the existing inventory that is coming to the market. Now, once buyers have more options, you'll see they have more negotiating power at the table. Potentially as sellers, you'll be waiting longer to sell your home. We're just not seeing that now. Third option to look at is, what's the situation with forbearance and foreclosures? When COVID-19 hit, the US government, as we know, put moratoriums in place to prevent people from losing their homes in foreclosure, and also created forbearance. Homeowners that were having trouble making loan payments, of course, had that forbearance extended to the middle of 2021. We also look at the numbers of homes that are in forbearance, not nearly as high as that other Great Recession in 2008, where there are over 6 million homes in foreclosure. Right now across the US, about 2 million homes are in forbearance. Now, what happens if those particular borrowers do need to sell their home because perhaps they haven't gone back to the workforce? Well, guess what? This market and this low supply has bailed them out. They got equity in their homes. If they do need to sell, it's unlikely that those homes coming out of forbearance, having to sell, or out of foreclosure are going to have much impact on the market. In fact, we're probably looking forward to having that extra inventory to sell to be able to service all the excess buyers out there. Okay, point number 4 is that home building is up. Now remember, home builders and the home building market nosedived after 2007 as the builders lost confidence in the market. There were foreclosures, homes going back to the bank. Now, of course, builders have got more confidence and have started delivering homes to the marketplace. But they've been impacted by the supply chain problems of COVID-19. We've seen lumber prices go up. We've also seen the supply of vital components like AC units, appliances, flooring, impacted by the supply chain. So the builders are not being able to deliver the number of homes that the buying population really needs. Also, once those homes have been delivered to the marketplace, we're also seeing that in many cases, corporate America is buying tranches and tracts of those homes as investments, thereby restricting the home ownership dream from many Americans. So this is exacerbating the supply somewhat when new home building really should be helping. Point number 5, we are seeing coronavirus restrictions starting to lift. So what does this mean for the homeowner right now? Remember, many homeowners were hanging on tight to their homes because it became a place of sanctuary during the pandemic, also a place to work at home, to have their college-age kids come and co-domicile with them. So hanging on to that piece of real estate, that piece of America, was vitally important during the pandemic. As that economy bounces back, many of those temporary reasons for people to hang on to those homes and not make a move right now are starting to fade away. So what's the bottom line? There are many factors that are dictating that 2021 is one of the best years in the past decade to sell your home. Take advantage of the seller's market now, this extreme seller's market, and don't kick yourself by waiting as the market changes. You don't want to be back in a situation where no more multiple offers, no more over asking, and you're waiting and negotiating and having to lower your price to sell your home. Take advantage of 2021 now. Hey, I hope you found all that information interesting, and we'll see you on the next video. Boom.